I would say this 4th of July, let's celebrate our independence from this virus. Let's celebrate it by staying home. Let's come together and say, you know what? Enough is enough. We don't want any more death. We don't want any more young people sick. You know, anybody, our loved ones, our elderly. If we all come together, there's power in unity. If we all come together, we will stop this virus and it will go away, and we will celebrate next year, 4th of July, differently, you know. It's going to take a while.
Eli Centeno walked out of Sharp Memorial Hospital in San Diego Thursday after he spent more than 2 months fighting COVID-19. It was the first time he got to hug his wife and children since he was admitted on May 5th. A few hours before he headed home to San Marcos, he took a few minutes to share his experience.
So what first happened was my wife went to go visit her family, some family members, and they came back and everything was good. She was just only supposed to go see her mom, but everybody got together. It's a big family. It's really hard for us as Hispanics to just want to get together. There's always like, oh, I want to come over too. I want to come over. So it's kind of hard, and I think that's where we kind of went off track a little bit there. They came back fine. My daughter got a little sick for 1 day. She had a little mild fever. We isolated her. I was still working. Everything was good. A week passed by, then my wife gets sick. 2-3 days she gets sick, and it was good. And then another week passed by, so we're talking about almost a month. And then I started feeling weird. I remember it was a Monday. I was coming back from work. It was a good day too. It was a slow day. I was mainly just doing house calls, sales calls. I wasn't really doing a lot of installs. And I got off my truck. It was around 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Park my truck, I get off. As soon as I take the first step and I off the truck and I close it, I started getting really dizzy. And I'm like, whoa, what's going on? I was like, oh, it's weird. So I kind of hold my composure together. And then I walked inside of the house and I told my wife, I'm like, hey, you know what? I'm not feeling good. By the time I get inside the house, I start feeling, my body starts to hurt, start feeling shaky. And I'm like, you know what? I'm not feeling good. I'm just going to go into the room. So I try to fight it. I got NyQuil. I got some Dayquil. And about 2-3 days later, I'm like, I can't. I'm not feeling well. It's not working. I called work again. I'm like, you know what? I'm still not going back in. It's too, I'm not feeling well still. And what we did is we went to the easiest, most convenient place, which was Palomar, Escondido. They basically just came back and said, okay, we swabbed you already. Let's just assume you have coronavirus. We don't get the results till 7 days, so just go home and isolate. And I'm like, okay. So I'm still breathing, but it's hard. So I go home. 4 days later, I'm like exhausted. I can't breathe, I'm getting mad fevers, 101. Every night, 101, 101. It wouldn't go away. So I'm like, you know what? I need to go to the hospital. I call my sister and she goes, I will ask you to come to Sharp Chula Vista, but it's further, brother. Why don't you go to Memorial? And I said, okay. So I came to Sharp here. The moment I came to Sharp, the experience was just great. Within the hour, I was already in my room. Okay. Originally, I came to 7 West. And right away, about a few hours later, or maybe a day later, I remember they told me you have, when I couldn't breathe anymore here, I was on a high flow oxygen and I couldn't breathe. So I remember Dr. Chow, one of the pulmonary doctors here, he said, you know what, he's not breathing. He's on the max airflow he's got. We got to take him to the ICU. So I get down to the ICU and Dr. Chow said, hey, look, you're not breathing, your lungs are not responding. I'm gonna have to intubate you. And I was so scared. And I said, no, I don't wanna get intubated. You gotta do something else. I'm like, well, Eli, then breathe more. He's like, because if your lungs are not responding, that's the next step. And so I call my wife at this moment. I say, look, this is what's happening. And she goes, let's just trust in God that you're in great hands, and let's do it. And then from there, I don't remember anything. I was intubated for 5 weeks, and my body wasn't responding. Now I hear the stories because I did not know this, that they used the last resource, which was they put me on ECMO. And, I don't know how serious ECMO was until my sister and other nurses were telling me it's serious. It's basically the last resource to bring back life to you. And so I don't remember none of that, obviously. I was out. I went through some bad moments in the ICU. Me, as far as like my body, was delirious for about a week. And I was having some really, really bad dreams. And I was, according to the nurses, they said I was treating the nurses bad. They had to put me on, they had ties to hold me down because I was pulling my tube out. And I didn't want the tube. I didn't want none of that stuff. So it was real bad. I went through a really bad moment. The moment I was able to, when I was able to gain my memory back, all that stuff, I was already off the ties. And, it was weird for me just to be laying down in bed. I still wasn't comprehending what was happening. And I'm like, what happened? I was tied to a tube, and I'm like, what's going on here? And so a nurse had to explain to me, well, you were intubated, and now this machine is breathing for you. And I said, oh my God, and for a moment there, I just couldn't believe it. I just couldn't believe what was happening. There's just so much, and my body. When I was intubated, I woke up, but not to this world. I just woke up, and I was able to hear. I was able to hear the people that were coming in and just turning me, and then I heard a recording that my wife and my sister made with all the girls and themselves, but all I heard was my girls, my family. They were saying hi, introducing me, hey Dad, this is Abigail, hey Dad, this is Elizabeth. And Elizabeth and I have this thing where she's my friend, I'm her friend, and we use that song from Toy Story, you have a friend in me. So she recorded that in there too as well, and she sang it, and I can hear that, and I get chills because the moment I heard that, that's the moment where I started saying to myself, I want to get up, wake me up. What am I doing here? I couldn't feel anything, but I can hear, and I can see like different sceneries, this weird sceneries that I can see. And then I woke up, but then I got delirious for that week. Then after that, just being at the ICU, the moment I started working with PT, with Tina, she's the one that was pushing me. She pushed me to get up to sit on the side of the bed, and that was horrible. I remember there were times that she would come, and I'm like, I don't want her to come. I don't want to sit on the side of the bed, I can't do it. It was a struggle within myself. Can't do it. You're messed up. And she was pushing me, and I never said no to her, though. Every time she would come, and she was here, she's like, oh, man, she's here. Okay, guess we're going to sit on the side of the bed. So we went from sitting on the side of the bed to, we're going to stand today. Stand? And I remember standing the first time. Oh, my gosh. That was crazy. The whole room spinning, and I'm trying to hold myself together. And I can't believe Tina's a lot shorter than I am. She was just holding me with this belt by herself. She's like, you got it. Stand up straight. She's like, stand up straight. Put your back straight. I'm trying to put her back. You can do it. I was like, oh. So finally I did it. He's like, hold it there for 10 seconds. Man, those 10 seconds were crazy. I don't know if anybody has ever gotten something like this, but from not moving for 6 weeks to standing, wow, it's just, it's a crazy feeling, and I still wasn't comprehending what was happening. Like, what happened to me? Well, coronavirus got a hold of your lungs. I got pneumonia in my lungs. That's what happened. That's why I had to get intubated. That's why these machines were breathing for me. And my sister told me they also did a study on me that, I forget what it's called, the name, but they did a study on me, and that also helped me recuperate faster. Actually, I was actually getting worse. I was told, and once I went into that study, everything went well. So I'm grateful for all the hands that that God put in my life, because I can't believe that if I went to another hospital, I just can't comprehend now and said, oh my gosh, I'm so glad I ended up here. I can't imagine ended up somewhere else. I don't know what would have happened. I heard so many cases, when I was able to text, one of my friends told me, hey, remember Adam? I'm like, yeah, Adam. We're the same age. We played music together. He said, passed away last week from coronavirus. And I said, what? And he's like, yeah, bro. That's why I'm so scared. That's why I was like trying to get a hold of you. What was going on, this and that. And I was like, I can't believe this. I'm like, bro, I got another chance to life. Going back to my recuperation, I went from standing and getting loopy to sitting on a chair. The first time I sat on a chair, we did a Zoom with my family. It was the first time I see my family in 6 weeks. And it was an emotional encounter. I get emotional too right now just thinking about it.
Were they able to come visit?
No, we Zoomed. Yeah. So I sat on the chair and they said, look, Tina was there and she said, look, your father, your husband he got up from the bed and he sat on the chair, and I was sitting on the chair kind of like this, trying to hold myself together. And I was able to talk to him like this. I was like, I couldn't talk to him because I had the tube, so I had to write. But then I couldn't write either because my hand was extremely shaky. Someone here trying to write. So I believe that my 5-year-old daughter's handwriting is better than mine right now. I'm getting a little better, with time. But it was an emotional moment. My kids were crying, my wife, and I started crying too. I couldn't talk. That's such a horrible feeling, like not being able to talk. You want to talk and you can't. You want to write and you can't write. But I was happy and I was glad to see them. It was mixed emotions. I was happy to see them, but I was sad at the same time that they were seeing me this way. So first you're battling to get your life back. And then after you're okay and awake, now you're battling to get your actual physical body back in place. You have nights that are full of anxiety. It's a battle. Now you're battling mentally with yourself. There are nights where you hate the bed you're in and you just want to get up. There's nights where you're so exhausted that you just want to lay on the bed. The recovering process, it's really tough mentally for me. I have a mix of emotions of going home. I've been wanting to go home for a long time. Looking at the poster they made for me, I'm like, I want to go back to my twins, to my family. Now I'm scared to go home. I'm scared to go home because I've been in the hospital for so long that you get hospitalized mentally. You get used to that room. And now it's like, I don't want to bring the hospital home because home is a different scenery. What am I going to do when I feel anxiety at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning? What am I going to do? I'm just going to get up, and go walk. I want to wake my wife up every day so she can help me so that I don't trip, so I can turn on the light and I don't fall. It's a battle. It's a battle of a lot of things. And thank God that I feel great. And again, I thank God for the wonderful staff here at Sharp. It's just a wonderful staff around here. It's just been nothing but a great experience, and that's very important. It's very important, like I said before, it's very important to have a great staff when you're going through all the stuff that I went through. It's an unbelievable journey that I've been through, and I don't want anybody to go through it. Don't go through it.
Reporting for the San Diego Union-Tribune, I'm Paul Sisson.